Greetings, African people. Today I'm going to talk about the social position of black women in the world. Not because I want anybody to feel sorry for us, and not because I want to capture a kind of debate that is going to end up with people saying more disrespectful things towards each other in the black community. But it's very important for us to have this dialogue. In my opinion, and I say my opinion, I think black women are treated the worst of all women. On the top is the white man, beneath him is the white woman, and every other, people of color. At the very bottom, above us is our black men, and at the bottom of the strata is the black woman. And what is tragic is that in spite of the fact that we live in a male-dominated world, these men in different groups or different societies at least give the appearance that their women are side by side with them, not the black woman. Now, black men, I'm going to talk about some things that happen to you that are not right, that are unfortunate, but today I'm talking about the women. So at the very bottom of this strata is the black woman. And one of the most tragic things is that we suffer insult and abuse from our own men. This includes the men that we partner with and our sons. I can just imagine what it would be like if I had a son and hear my son referring to black women as biatches and whore. We do that. Even as women, we call other women biatches and we call other women whores for doing the thing that every other woman does. And that's very evident in my society, in my community, that is. So when I hear black men talking about their own mothers and their daughters and their sisters in that way, because when you address black women in such a derogatory way, you're talking about your mother and your sister and your very daughter, and it's very unfortunate. I watched a video recently and that thing just upset me so badly. This person, I admire what he does with his show and he's entertaining, but sometimes when I listen to him, when he talks of black women, it's very disparaging, and I don't know if he's aware of it. He could be very subconscious. Maybe he's had bad experience with black women, but I just know that when I listen to him talk, he seems very biased when he talks about black women, calling black women loose. And this is what I want to ask. A man gets a venereal disease, and even if he finds out which female he caught it from, where did she get it? Because for the most part, from my knowledge, black women are not really sleeping with animals. Some other women do, but not from my understanding. It's not something that's very common within our society. So where are these women catching these diseases? You have men referring to women, young girls, as hood rats, calling them all kinds of names, and a lot of these black girls have endured because this is such a big thing in our society. Now, it's not a black thing because pedophilia is in every race, but it's very likely that a black woman will experience some kind of sexual abuse. I don't have a statistics to say right now, and I don't want to make it up, but the chance of a black woman being raped or molested by a family member or someone who's close to the family is very, very high. Now, I have not been physically violated sexually, but if you could say verbally, I had to experience an adult in my household who I valued, who I respected, who to this day I still have love for, talk to me about having sex with me. Family member who is married to my relative, grown man who could be my grandfather, talking to me about sex. And it was such a common thing growing up in the community or the society that I grew up with, older men saying things to me that I didn't even understand. We talked about this before, but I have to repeat these things so people understand where I'm going. I've had grown men tell me, oh, it's time for your cherry to be picked. I didn't know what that meant. I had grown man who could be my grandfather in my household, who could, play the role of a father, talking to me about, if I'm going to ask or allow some other boy to taste it before he does. it felt like it was normal. Even though I thought it was kind of gross to hear him say it. But he did it in a way like he was joking. He never touched me. But now that I'm older, I'm thinking, wow, that was wrong. And so let's imagine that I had experienced this at an early age, and that led to promiscuity. I'm not trying to make excuses for women, but sometimes this happens. Introduction to sex at an early age sometimes causes women to become promiscuous. And this woman wears the label as a whore. She grows up with a stigma even after she's raped. Our men don't really treat us very well sometimes, a lot of times, and we are more loyal to them. You know, we get angry with them sometimes, but we're not trying to distance ourselves from them. Now, in some places that's happening nowadays, but for the most part, black women are still very loyal to our men. And what I want to say to the men that are listening here is that you have a choice to choose whichever woman you want to choose and marry. I don't care about that. That is your personal choice. But even if you're married to somebody outside of your race, that doesn't give you the opportunity or the choice or the right to come and demean your woman. Because some of you black men, what you do is when you go out with women of other race, you talk badly about black women. And I don't know if you don't understand that when you do that, that very woman is going to have second thoughts in the back of her mind about you. It's not about you and dating out of your race today. It's about how, as black women, we feel. So the bleaching that you see, and I hardly ever talk about this, is a part of that psychic torture that black women go through when they watch the light-skinned girls in the black community getting better treatment, when they watch how other women of other race get treated like princess and talked to nicely. Sorry. They feel a way, you know, hence the weaves and things like that, trying to make themselves look presentable to you. You see grown women bleaching themselves, subjecting themselves to dangerous chemicals that they know it has terrible side effect, but their self-esteem is so affected that they're willing to put themselves through this to be considered beautiful. And when you listen to these women who are bleaching out themselves, they say, I'm pretty. And they're saying, when I was dark skinned, I was ugly. And you're thinking, there's something wrong with that, because are you saying that you're pretty because your skin color changed? Because most people look at your features to say if you're beautiful or not. But I think these persons are so tortured in their mind that the very idea of their bleached skin, even though it looks very unhealthy, in their mind they look more beautiful. And then when you listen to some black men talk about women who bleach, they actually agree that that woman, especially in Jamaica, they say that dark-skinned person, now that they're bleached out, they look better. And some people who are against bleaching, the language that they're using is showing that your women are feeling this way because of this very argument. They're saying, they're criticizing the people bleaching, but at the same time they're saying, you know, they were black and ugly before. So that mixed message that you send to black women is quite problematic. There is an increase in violence against women, and this goes across the board. But black women are experiencing violence. Now, this person that I was listening to was saying that, you know, somebody from Canada went to Jamaica, and the individual, you know, brought he has AIDS and he's wanted by the cops here. And while they were talking about it, most of the men that were in that section, they were saying all kinds of things about the women and saying that you have to be very careful of the women and this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking to myself, the women are the problem? We're talking about a man who has AIDS, who have victimized other women in the country where he came from, and is there spreading the disease among other women. And you are blaming black women, calling them all kinds of names and saying that they're the problem. Now, I have something to say to you ladies today. I know sometimes you get desperate. I know there are times when you feel like there's no hope, and the only way for you to survive is to get together with a man that you don't love. Some of you women go out with guys and date them and ask for them to help you through school and things like that. That's a very dangerous game that you're playing. It's not like back in the day when they had the song "Say Boops Day," go and go near me mouth. It's not about that anymore. Those days are over. The guys who were called boops back in the day, those guys were very gentle, very sweet, very kind, very compassionate. It's their nature why women are able to rob them. That's not the kind of man we have nowadays. Even the youngest of teenage boy has no problem landing his feet in a girl's chest. So you have to realize what you're doing, and you can't continue to use men and at the back of your mind you're saying, I'm going to discard him when I feel like he's just somebody who I'm just using for this moment. Because the heart of man and woman have become violently wicked. But when it comes to black women, nobody feels sorry for us. Nobody has compassion for us. We are like the rolling stone that gather no moss. People don't feel compassion or concerns. The issues in our lives, our private lives, or our communities are of no concern to anybody, not even our own men. The condition and the plight of the black woman is a very serious one. And I am here to ask our men to understand that the black woman is not your problem. The black woman really has been subject to all kinds of abuse, physical, mental, financial, sociological, whichever way you can think of. She has been subjected to that. And sometimes women have become more selfish now because after being violated more than one time too many, the women now become so selfish that they say, it's not about you anymore, it's about me. There's a psychology behind, what appears to be a callous or wanton disregard for how we behave or conduct ourselves as black women. Not trying to make excuses, but understand that it's deeper than the surface. And our people have to understand that until we understand each other and try to work out our differences, we will not be strong. A nation that doesn't see the value of their women cannot be strong, cannot be powerful. A woman is the gatekeeper. The white woman is a gatekeeper. She's in every position where she can maintain power and control on behalf of her men. White men can't trust white women, and black men feel they can't trust black women for whatever reason. Well, understand that difference that exists between you, that difference is a manufactured difference that is caused from our history, is caused from individuals understanding that as black women, we are creative people, or creative energy, not just to give birth to your children, but to give birth to ideas of how we can build ourselves and our community. A lot of our men don't respect us. They don't respect the fact that when we bring ideas to the table, if you use that idea, we could bring ourselves out of a lot of situations. Black men are not valuing or respecting their women as they ought to. Hence, us remaining at the bottom of the social strata. Girls, stop taking men's money if you know that you don't love them and you don't want them. It's a very dangerous game. But also, men, understand that when a woman decides that this relationship no longer suits her, she has every right to go about her business. You don't have the right to take her life. You don't have the right to subject her to all kinds of physical or domestic violence. She has a right to go if she says that it's not working out for her. I'm saying if she's done everything within her power to try to keep her family together and she's subjected to violence, she doesn't really have to take that. And I would suggest to women who are going through physical abuse, it's best that you go. You leave. You can't stay in a situation where your life is at risk. Black men, the black woman is not your problem. She may do things that you don't like, and she might subject you to pain and suffering, which is unfortunate. But the black woman also endure these things from black men. And like, they don't have the right to abuse you physically, because I'm not in these double standards. When I see women attacking men, I am very angry about it. I don't like double standards in any way. But I'm here talking today about our position as black women. We have very little compassion for ourselves and for each other, and nobody else see us as worthy of someone standing up and defending in this time. It was better back in the days when the black man and the black woman stuck together. At least they could try to work out. They had a united front. It's not that like that anymore. We've got to fix it. Girls, don't allow your desperation to make you get involved with a man and take his things and lead him on. It's not a nice thing that you're doing. And just put yourself in that person's shoes. How would you feel? But the men are not like you. Women are more forgiving. And ego alone will make a man hurt you just to save face. Black men, we know that you have issues. We know that you have pain and you suffer all kinds of degradation in the world. But I don't think taking out your frustration on the black woman is going to solve your problem either. Find a way to work out these differences and build your community together. Be blessed, African people. Think of these things.